One day, in a small and secluded town named Blackwood, nestled deep within the dark woods, an ominous fog descended, enveloping the entire area. As the residents of the town looked out their windows, they could barely see their hands in front of their faces. It was an eerie sight, and a sense of unease spread among the townspeople. Within this ominous fog, strange occurrences began to unfold. People reported hearing chilling whispers that seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere at once. Some claimed to have seen shadowy figures darting through the fog, their eyes glowing like ember in the darkness. At the heart of the town was an old abandoned mansion known as the Blackwood Manor. Legend had it that the mansion was cursed, and that those who dared enter never returned. The townspeople shuddered at the thought of what might be lurking inside that decaying structure. Among the residents was a curious young woman named Amelia. She was known for her fearlessness and adventurous spirit. One night, unable to resist the allure of the mystery surrounding the mansion, she made a fateful decision to uncover its secrets. As the fog thickened around the town, Amelia, armed with nothing but a flashlight, approached the sinister mansion. The old iron gate creaked eerily as she pushed it open. Inside, the air was heavy with the smell of decay, and the feeling of malevolence hung in the atmosphere. Undeterred, Amelia pressed on, her flashlight illuminating the dark corridors as she ventured deeper into the mansion. The creaking floorboards and moaning walls seemed to come alive with every step she took. Despite the fear gnawing at her, she was determined to solve the mystery. As Amelia ascended a decaying staircase, the whispers grew louder, echoing in her ears. The walls appeared to pulse with an otherworldly energy, and she could feel an unseen presence watching her every move. But Amelia pressed on, fueled by her curiosity and stubbornness. In one of the rooms, she discovered a dusty old journal left behind by a previous resident. Its pages were filled with the ramblings of a tortured soul, describing terrifying encounters with entities from beyond the grave. The writer spoke of a malevolent force that fed on fear, lurking in the shadows of the mansion, waiting to consume the souls of the living. Amelia's heart raced as she read the journal, realizing that she might have stumbled upon something far more sinister than she ever imagined. Determined to uncover the truth, she continued her exploration. Suddenly, the whispers intensified, and the temperature in the room dropped drastically. Amelia turned around to find herself face to face with a shadowy figure, its eyes blazing with an unholy fire. Frozen with fear, she could do nothing but watch as the entity reached out for her. Summoning all her courage, Amelia fled from the room, desperate to escape the clutches of the malevolent being. But the mansion seemed to have a life of its own, its layout changing before her very eyes. Every turn led her deeper into its labyrinthine corridors, trapping her within its nightmarish embrace. In her panic, Amelia stumbled upon a hidden room filled with arcane symbols and eerie artifacts. It became evident that the mansion was a focal point for dark rituals and forbidden magic. The more she uncovered, the stronger the malevolent presence seemed to grow. As the hours turned into an eternity, Amelia's strength waned, and she began to lose hope of ever escaping the mansion's clutches. The shadows seemed to taunt her, twisting into grotesque forms, and the whispers evolved into menacing laughter. Just when she thought all was lost, a glimmer of light appeared through a crack in the wall. With her last ounce of strength, Amelia broke through, finding herself back outside the mansion, with the fog finally beginning to dissipate. Exhausted and traumatized, Amelia stumbled back to the town. She tried to warn the townspeople of the evil that lurked within the Blackwood Manor, but her words fell on deaf ears. They dismissed her story as a product of an overactive imagination and the effects of the fog. From that day forward, Amelia was never the same. The horror she experienced haunted her dreams, and she became a recluse, forever scarred by the malevolent entity within the mansion. The people of Blackwood continued their lives, unaware of the darkness that dwelled just beyond their reach. The fog that had descended on that fateful day never returned, but the sinister presence within the Blackwood Manor remained, biding its time until it could feed on fear once again. And so the cursed mansion stood, a silent sentinel of terror waiting for its next unsuspecting victim to venture into its depths. I'm Mark, a weary traveler on a dark and stormy night. The rain was relentless, pounding on my windshield, and the wind howled like a banshee as I drove down the desolate highway. My car's headlights illuminated nothing but the sheets of rain ahead, and the sound of tires splashing through puddles echoed eerily in the deserted landscape. As I navigated through the storm, my nerves began to fray. I had hoped to reach my destination before nightfall, but the downpour had slowed me down. With each passing minute, the darkness outside seemed to deepen, and the visibility became almost non-existent. I considered pulling over to wait for the rain to subside, but there were no nearby rest stops, and the idea of being stranded on this remote highway in the middle of the night sent shivers down my spine. Trying to keep my focus, I turned on the radio, hoping for some distraction from the eerie silence that enveloped the car. Static filled the speakers, and every now and then I caught fragments of unsettling news stories about a series of mysterious disappearances in the area. But the signal was weak, and the snippets only served to make me more uneasy. As I pressed on, I saw a faint glow in the distance, like a beacon through the heavy rain. Relief washed over me, thinking it might be a gas station or a motel where I could wait out the storm. I drove closer, and my heart sank as I realized the source of the light. It was an old, dilapidated mansion on a hillside, seemingly abandoned for years. The mansion looked like something straight out of a horror movie, a decaying structure with broken windows, overgrown ivy, and an aura of gloom that clung to it like a shroud. But with no other options in sight, I mustered my courage and decided to seek shelter there until the storm passed. As I parked my car outside the mansion, the rain intensified as if warning me to stay away. Ignoring my apprehension, I cautiously stepped out and approached the imposing entrance. The door creaked open with a loud groan as if protesting against my intrusion. I hesitated but took a deep breath, telling myself that this was only temporary. Inside, the mansion was freezing, and the air carried a musty smell of decay. The sound of dripping water echoed through the desolate halls as rainwater found its way inside. I felt a growing sense of unease, as if I was being watched by unseen eyes. As I explored further, I stumbled upon a dusty, dimly lit library. Its shelves were filled with ancient books, their pages yellowed with age. Among the tomes, one particular book caught my eye, a leather-bound volume with strange symbols etched on its cover. Intrigued, I reached for it, but as my fingers brushed its surface, a chill ran down my spine, and I quickly withdrew my hand. Suddenly, a distant, eerie noise echoed through the mansion, an unearthly moan that sent a shiver down my spine. My heart raced as I turned to leave, but before I could, the door to the library slammed shut with a force that seemed unnatural. Panic seized me, and I rushed towards the door, pushing and pulling with all my strength, but it wouldn't budge. Trapped in the mansion, my mind raced with fear. Had the legends of haunted mansions come to life before my very eyes? Was I doomed to be another victim of the disappearances I heard about on the radio? As I stood there helpless, I heard footsteps approaching from the darkness. I turned towards the sound and saw shadowy figures emerging from the corners of the room. My heart pounded in my chest as the figures drew nearer, revealing their ghastly faces, hollow eyes, pale skin, and sinister grins. My only instinct was to escape, but no matter where I ran, the mansion seemed to shift and morph, leading me back to the haunted library. The figures closed in, and their cold, bony hands reached out for me. My screams echoed through the mansion, but there was no one to hear my cries for help. And as the rain continued to pour outside, my fate was sealed within the walls of that accursed mansion. The horror of that night would be forever etched in my mind, a cautionary tale for anyone brave or foolish enough to travel the lonely highways on a rainy night. In 2022, a small town nestled in the mountains was haunted by an abandoned school that had long been left in darkness. Once a place of laughter and learning, it now stood as a grim reminder of a tragic event that occurred years ago. The townspeople believed the place was cursed, and none dared to venture close to its eerie walls. But one group of curious teenagers decided to defy the rumors and explore the forsaken school on a dark, stormy night. Mark, Sarah, Alex, and Emily were drawn to the place by a mix of curiosity and bravado. They wanted to prove that the legends were merely stories, nothing more. As the group approached the decrepit building, the howling wind sent shivers down their spines. Thunder rumbled ominously in the distance, and lightning illuminated the school's foreboding facade. The door creaked open as if inviting them inside. With trepidation and excitement, they stepped over the threshold into the darkness. A chilling aura engulfed them, and the air felt heavy with suppressed memories. The teens ventured deeper into the school, their flashlight beams cutting through the darkness like knives. Along the corridors, they noticed faded drawings on the walls and discarded toys scattered on the floor. It was as if the ghosts of the past were trying to communicate with them. Their exploration led them to the school's basement, where an eerie silence settled in. The oppressive darkness seemed to come alive, suffocating their senses. A distant whisper echoed through the walls, and a sudden gust of wind slammed the door shut behind them. Panic gripped their hearts, and they frantically tried to open the door, but it was as if it had fused with the wall. A ghostly apparition appeared before them, a shadowy figure with hollow eyes and an ethereal glow. The spirit of a long-deceased student, trapped in the school after a tragic accident, had waited for years for someone to set them free. With each step, the ghost came closer, its voice a haunting whisper that sent shivers down their spines. The group tried to run, but their legs felt heavy, as if an invisible force held them back. The ghostly figure revealed its tragic tale, a tale of betrayal and abandonment, of being forgotten by the world above. Its sorrowful plea echoed through the dark corridors, tearing at the fabric of their sanity. Mark, feeling an inexplicable connection to the spirit, gathered his courage and asked, "What do you want from us?" The ghost replied, "I seek redemption, a chance to rest in peace. Help me find my lost belongings, and I shall let you leave this cursed place." Reluctantly, the group agreed, realizing they had no other option but to help the spirit find closure. As they searched the school, they discovered remnants of the ghost's past life, a dusty diary filled with heart-wrenching confessions, a tattered photo of happier times, and a long-lost teddy bear, all hidden in the depths of the abandoned building. With each item they found, the spirit grew stronger, and the oppressive darkness began to lift. But as they made their way back to the basement, they encountered another sinister presence lurking in the shadows, an entity that fed on the despair of lost souls. The entity sought to prevent the spirit's release, and a bone-chilling showdown ensued. Sarah, Alex, and Emily fought bravely, using the light from their flashlights as a weapon against the darkness. Mark, guided by an inner force, confronted the malevolent entity head-on, wielding a long-forgotten weapon he discovered earlier. In a fierce battle between light and darkness, the teens managed to defeat the malevolent entity, releasing the trapped souls it had consumed over the years. The school trembled with a supernatural force, and the ghostly figure thanked them with a bittersweet smile before dissipating into the air. As dawn approached, the school seemed to exhale a sigh of relief. The curse that plagued the building was lifted, and the darkness that had plagued it for years began to retreat. Mark, Sarah, Alex, and Emily emerged from the school, forever changed by the harrowing experience. From that day on, the abandoned school remained undisturbed, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the enduring power of friendship and bravery. And although the memory of that terrifying night lingered, the town's legend transformed into one of redemption and hope, reminding all who heard the tale to tread carefully in the face of the unknown. For even in darkness, light could prevail,